Today I am going to sculpt a frog. The first thing I want to do is make a lily pad. I've got a circle of green paper about the size of my hand. You could measure it by using maybe some tape and tracing around the outside of it if you want. And I'm just going to make a cut towards the center of the circle and another cut to make it look kind of like a pizza slice. And I'm going to take that out. If you want to get really fancy, you could paint this paper or decorate it in some way, but I'm just going to keep it simple for today and have a fun little lily pad. Now, for the sculpting, I'm using Crayola Model Magic. I'm actually using half of what comes in this container. So here's all of the clay. I'm going to break it in half and I'm going to put half off to the side. This is the amount I will use for the project today. I'll also be using markers and some other things, pencil too. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take two little balls of clay about the size of a pea. So think of the little vegetable, and I'm going to put those off to the side. These are going to be the eyes of the frog, so you can roll them into circles right away if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and try to make them so that they're about the same size, and then I'm just going to put them off to the side here and get ready for the rest of my sculpting. Now this is kind of a cool clay in that you can add some color to it. So I'm using white, and if I want to make it green like my frog, all I have to do is take a marker and color some green on my white clay. And I'm just gonna, flatten it out, color it, and then after giving it kind of a little bit of color here on the top, I'm going to fold it over on itself like this and kind of continue to do that, trying not to touch the marker too much with my fingers because I want the marker to go on the clay, not as much on my fingers. So as you kind of work it into the clay, it should be okay actually to not get your fingers too messy. So I'm just using this, kneading this process over and over again so that I can get my clay nice and green. Now I could leave it like this, but if I want it to be more green, I can just flatten it out again and add more. Or maybe I want to add a little bit of blue or yellow to my frog. I can do that too. So you can kind of mix colors in this way too. I'm going to add some yellow. I'll add a little bit more green. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix that in and keep repeating this process until you get the color that you want. So I'm going to continue to do that. And here I have it. It's still pretty light green, but I like how it looks. All right, I am going to take my clay and I'm going to break it in almost halves. One is a little bit bigger than the other. And I'm going to put the bigger chunk there on the table. And then I'm going to break the smaller chunk into half. You can see I've got two pieces that are about the same size. And then I'm going to break off just a little ball off of each of those pieces, about the same size as the eyes. Okay, so here are the pieces I will be using. I've got two that are about this size, some two smaller green ones, a big green one, and then my two white ones. Okay, time to sculpt. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the body of the frog. And to do that, I'm starting with my biggest chunk and I want to roll it into a ball. So I'm using my two hands and rolling until I get kind of a nice shape for the body. I'm just looking for a round shape. If you want to, you can also roll it on the table. I'm kind of liking how that's looking. Next, I'm going to go ahead and roll these bigger pieces into a ball right between my hands or on the table. Rolling. Trying to get the ball kind of even between my fingers. And then the small ones I'm going to roll into a ball as well. Rolling, 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 rolling. One. And rolling the second one. Two. Okay. Now, I've got the body done, but these bigger ones I actually want to be more like snakes. So I'm going to start rolling them in between my hands, and I want the snakes to be about the length of my pinky finger. So hold it up to your pinky finger. If it's about the same size as your pinky finger, that's probably a good size to go with. So I'm going to roll it between my hands. Oh, this one's too short, so I need to make it a little longer. And I want it to be about the same size as my pinky. And these two snakes are going to be the big legs of the frog. So they're going to go on the side of my ball. And I'm going to fold them over so it's a little bit uneven. There's a little bit of extra on the front so that I can kind of push it forward to make the foot. So you can see it just bends over and then the front part sticks out. You can kind of flatten a little bit like that to make the foot of the frog. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So I'm going to fold it over with a little bit of extra that I can kind of flatten out to make it look like a foot. And I'm going to add it to the other side of my frog. Kind of working on that to attach it. If you get any like little fingernail marks or something, you can kind of try to smooth those out. Okay, there's the main body here of my frog. You can see the legs are attached. This clay attaches pretty easily, so it's kind of nice. You just kind of push it together. Next, I need some front feet of my frog, so I'm going to take these two and just smash them a little bit between my fingers so that they're not so round. So just smash a little bit, and then they're going to go right under the front part of the frog. 1 and 2. Just add those to the bottom. So now there's 4 legs, right? The 2 front ones are really small, and then the back ones are attached to the legs on the side. Got that there. Next, I'm going to add the eyes, and those are already in a circular round shape, so I can go ahead and put those where I want them, somewhere on the top. You can have them touching each other like I am, or you could put them a little farther apart. It doesn't really matter. All right, so all of the pieces are on. They're all together. He's looking good. Now, I'm using my pencil, which happens to be nice and sharp, and I'm adding in just some divisions for each of the hands and feet. I'm just making 3 little lines here that go on each by pushing my pencil down. You could also use the end of a paper clip or a toothpick for this as well. I'm also going to add a mouth to my frog by starting on one side and kind of laying my pencil in carefully. Notice I'm holding it kind of sideways to make a nice smile for my frog. I'm also going to use my pencil to make the little eyeballs. So I'm just kind of poking right inside of my white part with my eyes. You can also add some color. So if I use my black marker and I poke inside of the eyes, it will give my frog some dark eyes right in the middle, like that. I thought it might be nice to add some color with some green on my frog too by adding some spots. So I'm going to use my green marker and just add little dots on the back of my frog. I'm trying not to press too hard, but just to get a couple different dots kind of along the back and on the legs. So I'm really trying to be gentle when I push with my marker here to get some dots on my frog. little dots here and there, all around. To kind of fill in. And there you have my frog. Notice I also added little nose holes too. But now you can see them all together. I can add him to my lily pad and he looks all set, ready to go hang out at the pond. I hope you enjoyed making a frog with me. Cannot wait to see how your frogs turn out. If you enjoyed this video, please head on over to my channel, Ehlke Art, to find more fun art tutorials. We'll see you next time.